Alright guys, this is Jerningham here. Sorry for getting the George Floyd's name mixed up in my video. I'm wrapping up now. I called him by Fleeny by accident. It was George Floyd, I should have said. Anyway, these are George Floyd's murderers that killed him. We're going to go through and show you what they look like. Try and figure out something here. Just a second. So I've done, yeah. So we're going to show you the video of their murders, the suspects that murdered him, the police officer that murdered George Floyd. So we're going to play the video. So I'm taking so long.
Yeah, one of them telling the media.
1 second, I need to put the...
First to the US, where hundreds have gathered to remember George Floyd, whose death has sparked protests around the country. It comes amid a backdrop of growing backlash against the president. Our correspondents are in Minneapolis and Washington, D.C. We're going to go first to Tim Arvia. And Tim, the service for George Floyd has not long wrapped up, but there's still plenty of emotion there.
That's right, Ali. It finished just over half an hour ago, but still the crowds are here, and there has been plenty of passionate speeches. There were extremely emotional scenes when George Floyd's casket left the service, the crowd chanting, "Say his name, George Floyd, say his name, George Floyd." While inside the service, they spoke about the legacy he will leave and pledging that it should not be misused, speakers also referencing the president.
We cannot use Bibles as a prop. And for those that have agendas that are not about justice, this family will not let you use George as a prop.
Now, across town, lawyers for 3 of the policemen have begun arguing about why their clients should not be prosecuted for George Floyd's death. One of them telling
There's the suspects that killed him.
That Thomas Lane, the policeman, had only been a policeman for
Officers
4
facing
days
in court.
when this happened. Ali?
Okay, thanks, Tim.
Now to Amelia Adams in Washington, D.C. Amelia, good morning to you. The chorus of criticism against the president is growing louder. What's the latest where you are?
Yeah, it absolutely is, but the situation here, Carl, couldn't be more different. Things are so calm, and people have been handing out pizza and icy poles in the last little while. It's such a lovely vibe. This street, as you'll recall, was totally blockaded off by military and National Guard 24 hours ago, and the DC mayor and police chief actually intervened and went to the federal authorities and said, you know what, this is our turf. You need to back off, and amazingly they did, and it's really de-escalated the situation. There's not that line of heavily fortified, armed riot police that we've seen staring through the fence to protesters over the last couple of days. The Attorney General's been out and about this morning talking about what happened on these streets earlier in the week and defending the massive deployment of military troops, because he says there are extreme
Washington, D.C.
at play here.
We have evidence that Antifa and other similar extremist groups, as well as actors of a variety of different political persuasions, have been involved in instigating and participating in the violent activity.
Yeah, and there are still more than 1,600 active US troops on standby in this region, Carl, just in case things should escalate again, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Such a different vibe. It's good to see you, Amelia. Thank you. We'll take you now to pictures coming into the newsroom from New York, where thousands of people are right now marching across the Brooklyn Bridge in tribute to George Floyd. That is a massive crowd, and more of that coming up a little bit later.
Back home, thousands of people across Melbourne, Sydney and Adelaide are expected to take part in demonstrations tomorrow, with fears it could set off a second wave of COVID-19 reporters. We have reporters around the country. We're going to go first to Christina Hearn in Melbourne. And Chris, what have organisers had to say?
Well, Ali, organisers say they want people participating in this rally to be safe. So
This is in Melbourne, Australia.
Face masks and also socially self-isolating at home 2 weeks after attending the rally. But the Premier and also the Chief Health Officer here in Victoria says this protest should not be going ahead because of the risk of the spread of the coronavirus. In saying that, no one that attends will be arrested or fined for breaching social distancing rules. The reason for that is police do not want to inflame the situation. There is a report in The Age this morning that activists are
Melbourne's in Australia, guys, if you don't know.
Other physical force to try and provoke a physical peaceful response from police, and certainly some rallies in Melbourne in recent times have descended into chaos. However, organisers say any threats are not coming from them. Ali?
Okay, thanks, Chris.
That is today's Sydney reporter, Gabrielle
Going to
Boyle,
Sydney,
for more
Australia.
on the planned protests through the city. Gabby, how have authorities responded?
Yeah, good morning, Carl. Well, this has been approved by the New South Wales Premier and New South Wales Police. This comes despite those social distancing laws that are still very much being enforced here in New South Wales. As we go to where today, only 20 people are allowed to attend weddings. Cafes, pubs and clubs, they're only allowed to have 50 people. But despite this, we're expecting thousands to take to the streets in Sydney tomorrow to support the Black Lives Matter movement. They're meeting here in the Sydney CBD from 3 p.m. tomorrow. This comes as the US Embassy puts out a message to US citizens living here in Australia saying they do not support US citizens attending this rally. Carl?
Gabby, thank you.
Well, the Australians are going to do it now, are they? Right, hope you all enjoyed the video. Give it a like, give it a comment. I think the phone's gone off on it. No, it hasn't. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Give it a like and give it a comment and share it with your friends. And I'll be back in the next video. Peace.